What's up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a makeup tutorial, which I feel like I have not done a freaking makeup tutorial in forever. Like, I have not sat down to just film a regular old makeup tutorial. But today I'm going to be using the new-ish Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm going to show you guys how I achieved there's a hair in my face, how I achieved this makeup look using the Jaclyn Hill palette. So if you would like to see how I achieved this makeup look, or if you would like to just see my thoughts on this palette, then just keep on watching. Alrighty, of course we are starting off with a fresh face. I have nothing on except for moisturizer. And the first thing I'm going to use is my Colourpop concealer in the shade Medium. I feel like if MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot was a concealer, it would be around this shade. It's like a nice warm tone, light-ish medium color. So I'm using this to just conceal and to even out my eyelid area. And then to set that in place before applying any eyeshadows, I'm using my Makeup Forever matte setting powder with my Real Techniques setting brush. As mentioned in the beginning, I'm using the Jaclyn Hill eyeshadow palette, and throughout this tutorial I'll tell you guys my thoughts. But first I'm going to take this cream colored eyeshadow and applying that to the crease. One thing is that you don't know the shades of this palette. You only get the shades, I believe, if you got the PR package or something like that. So that's a bummer. So I basically just point to the shade that I'm using. So I'm using this mustard brownish kind of color and applying that with a dense crease brush right underneath where I put the cream color, the first color that I applied. I'm just kind of building up the intensity and adding a little bit of dimension to my crease before I go ahead and apply any other colors. The eyeshadows in this palette are super pigmented with finger swatching, but I did realize that I kind of had to build up the matte shades a little bit. I did have to kind of go in a few times to get the intensity that I was looking for. The shimmery shades though, those are pigmented right off the bat. You can use them alone or you can use them with something like the MAC Fix Plus or something like that. The next color I used is this burgundy mauve color. It's so hard to explain these colors when I don't have like a name for them. But I took that color and I applied it with a really tiny blending brush. As you can see, I first was just gonna do it in the crease, but then I ended up going in on my eyelid as well and kind of building the color on there. Later on, you're not going to be able to tell that I even put this color, honestly, so you can probably skip this step. I'm not sure if it really made a big difference. And then I just took the mustard brownish color again, and then I blended it out. And I forgot to show the shot of this eyeshadow that I'm using, but it's the dark brown in the Jaclyn Hill palette. I piled it on top of the mauve color, and then I blended it out. Then I'm just cleaning up any fallout. I didn't really get much fallout, but just in case, I used a makeup wipe to clean up underneath my eyes. I'm then jumping into the skin. I'm gonna go back to the eyes in a little bit, but I'm using the Mercier foundation primer. They have a few primers, but this is just the simple basic foundation primer. It's oil-free and all of that good stuff. So I apply that all over my face. As for foundation, I actually mixed two different ones, and I'm not gonna lie, I actually like this combo. I just think it was a little bit too dark for me. But I first used my Hourglass Vanish Seamless Foundation Stick in the color Warm Beige, and I applied that all over my skin. And in a few, you'll see that I apply the Maybelline Better Skin Foundation because it's a little bit deeper, which is why I used it, because the Hourglass foundation is a little bit light for me, and the Maybelline is a little too deep. So I thought if I would mix the two, I would get a nice color. It just turned out a tad bit too deep, but it happens. The good thing is that this combination did give me a nice finish and nice coverage as well. So you can see as I'm blending it, it does give a really nice coverage, but the finish of it, it's not too matte and it's not overly dewy. It's perfect. It looks like it can almost pass like my skin, I want to say, like a perfect version of my skin. And I used my Morphe M439 to go ahead and blend those two together. It's one of my favorite foundation brushes. To conceal and brighten underneath the eyes, I use the Colourpop concealer in the shade Medium again. When I first did a review for these concealers, I did use Medium Tan, but I feel like that only concealed and not necessarily brightened as much as I wanted to. So I just use the shade Medium, and it gives me the perfect coverage as well as brightens a little bit. And I used my Beauty Blender sponge to blend that out. again with the Colourpop concealer, just in a deeper shade. I think this is deep golden if I'm not mistaken. The correct color will be down below if deep golden is not the correct color. But I used this color to bronze up my skin and kind of sculpt a little bit as well. I know sometimes people say that you can't really sculpt or contour with a warm tone shade, but I like to do it and I feel like it sculpts my skin and my face out pretty well. So that's what I do. I wish I could just wear my makeup like this without having to set it and just having a nice glowy complexion, but my skin is so oily that it would get messed up within 30 minutes or so. It'll just melt right off. So I do have to set it, and I use my Makeup Forever matte setting powder and applied that mainly in the T-zone area, so right underneath my eyes, on my chin, upper lip, and on my forehead, because that's typically where I get the most oily throughout the day. To set the bronziness, the cream bronziness, I use the Makeup Forever Pro Bronze Fusion, and I think this is the deepest shade. Brows, I just did them on camera really quick. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. I picked this up recently again because I had ran out and I hadn't used it in a while, so been loving this lately because my eyebrows are pretty full right now, so I just use the pencil to fill in any sparse areas. Some concealer to clean up underneath, and then I use a clear brow gel to set everything in place. And since I did use concealer right under the brows, I go in with a blending brush again to make sure everything is nice and blended. Back to the eyes. I'm taking this bronzy shimmer color with a flat eyeshadow brush and patting that onto my eyelid to get my lids a little bit more of a shimmer, but I wanted a little bit something more. So I went in with this emerald green shimmery color and applied that in the center, and it gave me the perfect pop that I was looking for, but it's not too much. It almost gives me like a monochromatic feel. I really did not know what kind of look I wanted to go for with this eyeshadow palette because you can go so many directions, but I'm glad that I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone. From there, I put on a blush. This is from the Sephora collection. It looks very intimidating. It looks like a straight up orange blush, but if you go in with the light hand, it gives a really nice flush to the cheekbones, and it kind of almost enhances your bronzer a little bit more as well. Why not? And then I took this second shimmery color from the palette and I applied that in the inner corners. In the palette, the two lightest shades look like they're kind of matte, but when I did a swatch of them, they were shimmery, so I decided to use that for the inner corner. And again, taking the blending brush, making sure everything is nice and blended for the last time, I think. I was sent this PR package from Burberry, and it came with these 3 liquid lipsticks, and I decided to use the purpley one. I feel like it looks a lot darker in the packaging, but when I applied it, it was like a violet color, and they didn't dry completely matte, which I was hoping that they would, so I ended up switching the color. But my mascara, I haven't been able to put this one down. It's the Loreal Lash Paradise Mascara. I tried applying some translucent powder to my lips to see if the color would get a little bit more matte, and it did, but I still wasn't getting the finish that I was looking for. But I jumped into setting spray either way. I used the Glamglow GloStarter setting spray, and then here I'm changing the lip color. So I used an Urban Decay lip liner. The shade will be below. I used that around the perimeter of my lips just to line them and to add a little bit of color. And then I used a NYX Cosmetics, I believe this is their lingerie liquid lipstick. I applied that over top, and then I did a little bit of the NYX Cosmetics Soft Matte Lip Cream in Abu Dhabi right in the center, and that is how I got the lip color that I'm wearing right here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all in the next video.